Hi, I hope this video doesn't get to be too long. I'm going to be talking a little tiny bit about turkeys. In one of the, you do have a link for the Cornell Bird website that has all kinds of information about feathers, but turkey feathers have some unique characteristics as well, so I wanted to kind of go ahead and cover them. The reason turkeys have feathers are there's several reasons. One of them is to keep them warm for insulation. One of them is for covering, obviously. One of them is for flying, which a lot of people think turkeys don't fly, but we will talk about that. One of them is their tail fans. And then there's the other reason is that they have them for recognition, like the tom turkeys. Like some species of male birds, the male is a little bit more brightly colored. If you take a look at this wing feather, look at the iridescent colors on it, and that really has a lot to do with the males. And there's a really special feather on a turkey, and it's actually called a beard, and it looks like this. It looks like a bad horse tail or something, I don't know, and it sticks out from their chest, but it's actually classified as a feather, and only the males have this. And I think Jenny talked about that in her PowerPoint, but sometimes females will have them. But when you're hunting for turkeys, you don't hunt male or female, you hunt bearded or non-bearded. So that's really interesting to me. So the beard is actually considered a type of a feather. Okay, then you also have, sorry, I have a whole bunch of stuff here going on. You have the tail fan feathers, and those are really unique. These ones are, of course, closed up, and then when they spread them out, it's super interesting. This is when the tom turkeys are trying to impress a hen. So now the females can do a little bit of it, but they don't tend to strut like the male turkeys do. And when they spread out their tail fans, they can kind of angle them to which way they want to impress the hens, or the jennies. Remember, they're called jennies. So anyway, another interesting thing about the tail fan, and maybe Jenny mentioned this, is the jakes, which are the young men or the young boys. Their tail fans have a little bit, it comes up a little bit higher in the middle. I thought I had one of those here handy, but I don't. But anyhow, just you can kind of know that there's a jake in there when his feathers are a little bit taller in the middle. So, and turkeys do molt. They have to molt and get rid of their feathers and grow new ones. One of the things, the other one is a wing feather. Of course, these are their flight feathers. And, they kind of keep them tucked up, and then except for when they're flying. And then the males, when they're strutting, and this is a good example of one, the males, when they're strutting, will drag them on the ground. And so like hunters will look for those those wing marks or whatever they're called, to make, to see if there's a tom around. But you can see how these are worn like that, and so it would be important to molt and lose your feathers. Of course, they don't lose them all at once. They, are not continually doing that, but once they start, they lose some, and then they're growing back and that sort of thing. So a couple facts here. I'm looking at my notes. There are 18 tail feathers quill feathers in the tail fan, and there's 10 primary feathers and 18 secondary feathers on the wing, that like I showed you. And the wing feathers are really neat. You can usually find those around especially during the time when they're molting. And it's not like migratory bird wings. You can actually, or not wings, but feathers. You can actually keep the turkey one because they're not considered the migratory bird, and saved for that. So anyway, another interesting fact is turkeys do have about 5,000 to 6,000 feathers, and I put together just a tiny little PowerPoint because there seemed to be a lot of information, and if you're like me, not a biologist and a teacher, you might just want to use that PowerPoint to help you remember some of the things. One of the other things that's surprising about the wing or the flight is that they're a really heavy bird, and so a lot of people think, well, maybe they don't even fly because they're so heavy, but they actually do, and they use their really strong legs to push them up, and their wings are cupped in a certain way that helps them, and they have to fly up at night because that's where they're going to be safe from predators. So they actually go up every night and fly or fly up into the tree, and they roost there, and then they of course fly down in the morning. But they've also been clocked, and they can go pretty quickly. I think 55 miles per hour, but not for a long distance because of course they weigh so much. And so that's something that you can think about, and you can really, that might surprise kids that they could go as fast as a car. So but they rarely go more than about 100 yards. So anyhow, lots of information about feathers. Of course, there's the down feathers. The down feathers are going to be the ones that keep the turkey warm. And of course, when they're first born, in the PowerPoint, it shows a turkey that's got all those down feathers on it. So anyhow, I'm sure that the link to the Cornell Birds feather PowerPoint will help you, and then the little one I put together for turkeys. And then don't forget that we had in your packet, you had the 3D turkey, and I just threw that in here with the feathers. And the one thing that's a great lesson for following, or a great activity for teaching following directions, because it's kind of tricky. So I made this one and laminated it, so because it's in one of our trunks that I've talked about. And you can see, he's all tangled up, but you can see here that you put it together like so. But it's really, really important that when you're doing it, you cut out on the highlighted side. And I told you that in the letter. So just be sure you do that. Also, if you're wanting to use it in the classroom, you can print it directly from the website, but it might be easier to print the one that I sent you. So anyhow, I hope that answered some of your questions about turkey feathers, and have a great time. And I'll see you on the next one. Gobble, gobble. Bye.